Dear friends, welcome back. We are discussing the conveyance deed and the draft which has been circulated with our members has raised many interesting questions. In the past 5 videos, I have addressed some frequently asked questions and some other issues that cropped up. And in continuation of that, this video lesson will look at unsold units being used as guest rooms. As you're aware, Athashri is having eight unsold units. That means flats which have not been purchased by anyone and the ownership still lies with the developer. And the same are being used as guest rooms in which we accommodate our family members or friends when they come to visit us. This is a very unique selling proposition of Athashri's because even with limited space in our flats, we are able to host our near and dear ones and friends by virtue of this particular facility. But let us see how it fits into the law. The question that is asked is, can a developer lease out unsold units? First, we'll come up with the short answer. The short answer is yes. A developer can lease out unsold units. Unsold units are considered inventory or stock in trade. He can lease or rent unsold units. There is no restriction on that whatsoever. These unsold units are treated as a capital asset from the taxation point of view. And he can even avail funding through loan against property. There is no restriction on that whatsoever. Can society flats be used for commercial purposes? When we use the word society, it means the rules and bylaws will apply to members of the society. Unsold flats are not society property. Let that be very clear. The society bylaws only apply to members, and the developer will not be a member of the society, and there will be zero maintenance charges which will be applicable for these unsold units, and that is a deal that has been bargained in return for the ownership of Ojas Hall, transferred of OS 11 land, which is almost 30% of the land of our plot R18. It is 2,300 square meters, and G51, which is also a large piece of land which allows us access to walking space for zero charge. All that comes to us for zero charge, and in return the society has waived off maintenance charges to those flats. You can do the calculation yourself by looking at the budgetary proposals, and mind you, the law only allows the society to charge the builder maintenance charges on unsold units, not the service charges. Service charges include housekeeping, security, common areas, consumption of electricity, etc. What can only be charged are maintenance charges. So please be very clear about that. That's a very small sum of money. You can do the calculations yourself. As you know, that the total FSI of these unsold units is around 267 square meters. With the Excel sheets that have been distributed for the general body meeting, contain all the calculations, and you can check up yourself how much could be the possible projected income, and then you can compare that with the benefits that accrue to us by virtue of the ownership of Ojas Hall and all the land. Ojas Hall, by virtue of ownership, can be rented out, and it is a commercial benefit to the society. Another question is, can the developer use unsold units like guest rooms? For this, I request you to read clause number 2D of the service agreement draft, which has been circulated along with the conveyance deed draft. If you read this draft, it is worded very appropriately. It is clarified that the use of certain facilities like but not limited to allowing unsold flats to be used as guest house facility shall be subject to the Cooperative Housing Society's approval in writing. So it is for the society to put those conditions, whether it is regarding the type of guests who can be accommodated, all that can go into a detailed approval. However, this service agreement and the township agreement as well as the conveyance deed are going together so that we do not overlook and leave any loopholes. This is going to be a protection against unsold units to be used as guest house for people whom you do not wish to allow entry. Once again, I emphasize allowing the unsold flats to be used as guest house facility shall be subject to the approval of the society only. Now, we must understand one thing, that as members of a cooperative society, we have certain rights, certain duties, certain benefits, and certain restrictions. And this has been spelled out by the Supreme Court of India way back in 1985 in a very important judgment of a case of Daman Singh versus the state of Punjab and others. And what the justices spoke, and that included the Chief Justice of India, Justice Chandrachud. Here is what he said. Once a person becomes a member of a cooperative housing society, he loses his individuality qua the society. Now, qua is a Latin word, which we shall just see what it means. He has no independent rights except those given to him by the statute and the bylaws. He must act and speak through the society, or rather the society alone can act and speak for him qua rights or duties of the society as a body. The Latin word qua actually means in the capacity of. So as a society, once we have resolutions which can be passed with a majority vote, we speak as one voice. Also, it is important to know how the courts view cooperatives. Although this Maharashtra Cooperative Societies Act was passed only in 1963, the Government of India actually passed an act way back in 1903. That's more than 117 years ago, which was the Cooperatives Act. And since then, courts have been making their observations, and this is how courts have defined cooperatives. The cooperative movement is both a theory of life and a system of business. There are some people who have mentioned that this conveyance deed sounds more like a business deed or a business deal rather than just a title transfer. Well, dear friends, we must remember that cooperative movement is both a theory of life as well as a system of business. That's a very big statement coming from learned judges of the Supreme Court. It is an economic institution informed by social purpose and not motivated by entrepreneurial profits. We are not here to make a profit, but we have a social purpose. That social purpose is to address the concerns of the elderly. In a senior living society, we need those unsold units to be used as guest houses because they provide us with more space when we need it, when our near and dear ones are visiting us. So a cooperative has all these qualities and more. It is a democratic organization owned and controlled by those utilizing its services. We must not forget that a democratic society or organization has certain rules in which the majority has certain benefits, although the minority is free to voice their concerns. That brings us to the end of this lesson. Thank you very much for your attention. And if you have any more queries, doubts, or if you wish to clarify anything in more detail, please address them in the comment section and I'll only be too happy to help you with that. Thanks very much for all the enlightening questions that have come our way, and that has only helped us to illuminate our path. So my friends, thank you very much, and until we meet, bye bye.